Welcome to Inside UCL, your ultimate source for all things UEFA Champions League. In this video, we are focusing on the upcoming UCL clash between AC Milan and Liverpool. Stay tuned for in-depth film breakdown of analysis and all you need to know building up to the game. Fonseca, the AC Milan manager, spoke in his pre-match press conference about the need for his side to be perfect given the level of the opponent, but also the great opportunity that exists to make a statement and follow up a good result. Team news. As mentioned above, it is vital that Milan continue the very positive signs that they showed particularly during the opening 45 minutes against Venezia, and they will be backed by what will no doubt be a fantastic San Siro atmosphere as it always is on European nights. There is no doubting that Liverpool, Real Madrid and Bayer Leverkusen are the big three in terms of the teams that the Rossoneri will face in the league phase of the UCL, and they will face each team inside the first 4 games. Getting points on the board early will be crucial to ensure there is not too much pressure put on the later games against the likes of Slovan Bratislava, Dinamo Zagreb and Red Star, who are with respect much more manageable opponents on paper. In terms of injury news, the most recent negative development is that Ismail Bennacer will miss the rest of 2024 because he has completely torn his calf, doing so on international duty with Algeria. It is possible that he might even need surgery on it. Alessandro Florenzi and Marco Sportiello are the other 2 long-term absences who also underwent operations on their respective issues. On a positive note, Alvaro Morata returned against Venezia, coming off the bench after recovering from a muscle issue. The latest media reports are suggesting that Fonseca will make 2 changes to the starting lineup that beat Venezia on Saturday, with Fikayo Tomori and Morata the ones coming into the side. Mike Maignan should keep his place in goal with Emerson Royal and Theo Hernandez the fullbacks, then Tomori coming back in to partner Strahinja Pavlovic in the centre-back department. Loftus-Cheek and Tijani Rangers, but what remains to be seen is who players further forward out of the latter 2. The wingers are almost certain to be Christian Pulisic on the right and Rafael Leao on the left, then Morata leading the line with Abraham dropping to the bench. Predicted Milan 4-3-1, Maignan, Emerson, Tomori, Pavlovic, Theo Hernandez. Rangers, Fofana, Pulisic, Loftus-Cheek, Leao, Morata. We spoke to David Lynch who covers every aspect of Liverpool. Now for his own Substack but previously for the official All FC site, the Sunday Mirror, Evening Standard and Goal, to get his thoughts ahead of the game. It has been a summer of big change for Liverpool. Just how profoundly was Jurgen Klopp's exit felt? Extremely profoundly, no question about that. We're talking about the loss of a manager who is rightly considered a modern equivalent of Bill Shankly given the job he did in restoring modern Liverpool to greatness. The club was in the doldrums when Klopp arrived and yet went on to win every trophy available, all while spending much less than the likes of Manchester City. He also combined that with completely understanding the club, the city and its people. Losing an iconic and much-loved figure like that after 8.5 years was always going to be difficult. What was your reaction to the hiring of Arne Slot, and that of the fanbase in general? If I'm honest, I think there were many who were underwhelmed initially. Xabi Alonso's incredible achievements last season as well as his emotional ties with Liverpool meant he was the favored candidate of many fans, and the supporters did a good job of talking themselves into Ruben Amorim once those links arose. But the news that it would be Slot kind of came out of nowhere, and so I wouldn't say there was a huge wave of excitement regarding his appointment. That said, things seemed to change after an impressive preseason in terms of results and performances. How have things been under Slot thus far? Are you happy with what you have seen, especially in the hammering of Manchester United? Up until Saturday it had been pretty flawless. Liverpool have looked really solid defensively and were majorly impressive in picking apart Ipswich, Brentford and then Manchester United prior to the international break. I'd also say winning at Old Trafford in your 3rd game in charge is a decent way of getting supporters on side. But then the defeat to Nottingham Forest happened and, inevitably, some doubts have crept in. The question now is whether that was just a bad day at the office or if Slot is going to have an issue breaking down those tough Premier League low blocks. We'll have to wait and see. What was your reaction to the Champions League draw and more specifically discovering you would face Milan again? I'd say there was excitement among supporters. You always want to have big games to look forward to, and you don't need me to tell you that Milan are a giant of European football. Also, every time Liverpool have faced Inter or Milan in recent years, it has been thought to be their last chance to visit the San Siro, but they keep getting another opportunity to go there. Maybe this won't even be the last time, but if it is, I'm sure fans will want to relish every moment of the visit. Are there any injuries, other selection problems? What is the starting lineup likely to be? Liverpool are doing pretty well in terms of injuries compared to the last couple of seasons, with Harvey Elliott the only player missing at the moment. The only other question mark is whether Federico Chiesa will be ready to feature in the squad, having missed out against both Manchester United and Nottingham Forest as he builds up his fitness. Predicted Liverpool Sheffield to 3-1, Alisson, Alexander-Arnold, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, McAllister, Salah, Szoboszlai, Dias Hoda. Arne Slot insists he will not celebrate his birthday for the first time in his life. Slot turns 46 on Tuesday on what will also be one of the proudest days of his career, as he leads the six-time European champions into a huge showdown with AC Milan in the San Siro. Liverpool boss Slot puts that above any thought of birthday celebrations because it will be a major test for his European ambitions this season. Slot said, "I think it is the first time my birthday is not important for tomorrow. It's a big game for me, and because of the history these two teams have, the venue, it's one to look forward to. I don't think any manager is scared to play the other team, but we have a lot of respect for AC Milan. They have quality. We're not scared, but we respect all their players. They have shown they are in good form with a very good 4-0 win against Venezia on Saturday. Scared is not the word we would use. We respect them a lot." Slot has enjoyed what he called a good start rather than a great start after winning 3 of his first 4 Premier League games, with their only setback coming against Nottingham Forest as they suffered a shock 1-0 defeat at Anfield. That came amid criticism for him not rotating his team more. His only change in the 4 starting lineups this season was to bring in Ibrahima Konate and Jarell Quansah after the first game at Ipswich, ahead of such a punishing schedule. Slot was renowned in Holland for rarely changing his lineups, but he dismissed rotation as the reason for their first defeat of the season. "Everyone can have their own opinion, but it is too simple to put it down to rotation, but too many players not at their best level," said Slot. "If you drop home points in a game against Nottingham Forest, then something is wrong. Forest made it difficult for us, and when you don't win, you look at as many arguments as you can. I prefer to see the game back and what we didn't do well, and some of it was not related to rotation. We will never know if we would have won if I rotated." Key facts and stats. This will be the 5th meeting between Milan and Liverpool in European competition, with half of their previous clashes coming in the UEFA Champions League final to quarters. 2004-05 won by Liverpool on penalties, and 2006-07 1-1 by Milan. Liverpool have won all 3 of their UEFA Champions League games at the Giuseppe Meazza Stadium, winning 1-0 in 2008 and 2-0 in 2022 against Internazionale, and 2-1 against Milan in 2021. The Reds are the only team to play there more than once as a visiting side in the competition, while maintaining a 100% record. Liverpool have won 4 of their last 5 away games against Italian sides in European competition. 1 loss, with all 5 of those coming since 2020. Prior to this, the Reds had only won 3 of their first 14 such matches away to Italian opposition, 3 draws and 8 losses. Milan are unbeaten in their last 4 games against English sides in the UEFA Champions League, 2 wins, 2 draws, with each of those coming across the previous 2 seasons versus Spurs and Newcastle. They've never previously managed to avoid defeat in 5 consecutive games against English opponents in the European Cup, UEFA Champions League. In taking charge of Milan, Paulo Fonseca will be just the 2nd Portuguese to manage an Italian club in the UEFA Champions League, after José Mourinho with Internazionale 2008-2010. Liverpool manager Arne Slot has lost all 3 of his away games in the UEFA Champions League, with each of those coming in the group stage, with Feyenoord last season. 2-3 versus Atletico Madrid, 0-1 versus Lazio, and 1-2 versus Celtic. Despite that, Slot's Feyenoord had the 2nd-best shot differential away from home in last season's group stage, plus 19 to 48 for, 29 against, while only Man City 24 faced fewer shots on the road. Milan striker Alvaro Morata was the joint top scorer in the UEFA Champions League group stage last season, netting 5 goals in 6 appearances. Only once in his career has he netted more than 5 goals in a single campaign in the competition, 6 for Juventus in 2020-21. Mohamed Salah has scored 41 goals for Liverpool in the UEFA Champions League, the most ever by a player for an English club in the competition. Since his first season at the club in 2017-18, only Robert Lewandowski 54 and Kylian Mbappe 42 have outscored Salah 41 in the UEFA Champions League. Across the last 2 editions of the UEFA Champions League 2020-23 and 2023-24, only Vinicius Jr. 84 and Kvaratskhelia 64 have completed more dribbles than Milan's Rafael Leao 57. Trent Alexander-Arnold has assisted 10 goals for Liverpool in the UEFA Champions League 52 games, already the second most ever by an English defender, only behind Ashley Cole 12 assists in 108 games. David gave us some more insight on Liverpool. The usual suspects have been brilliant, of course. Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, and Trent Alexander-Arnold are always going to be key to how Liverpool play. But it's Ryan Gravenberch who has perhaps been the surprise package so far. He is really thriving in a deep-lying midfield role and is one of the reasons the team has looked so difficult to play through. If he and Alexis Mac Allister continue their good work together on Tuesday, then it will give Liverpool the platform from which to win the game. It feels obvious to predict that there will be goals in this one, given that Milan have scored 9 in 4 games this season and Liverpool have plenty of attacking talent. A draw would not be the end of the world for both teams, and it could end up being a classic early in the league phase. Milan 2, Liverpool 2. And that wraps up this edition of Inside UCL. Tune in next for our build-up to other big clashes. Until then, please do well to subscribe and hit the notification button so you do not miss any of our videos when we post them. And let us know what you think will pan out in this game in the comments section.